to Ford and O'Brien on ESPN Evansville 105.3.
Look at this song.
I dug it up.
I like this song.
From the vault, as we say in the business.
That's one of the best voices ever in radio right there. One of the best voices in music ever.
We've got Evansville IceMen Head Coach Dwight Mullins in studio with us for his weekly In the Crease segment to talk Evansville IceMen hockey. Good afternoon, Coach. Oh, I guess I probably should turn your microphone on. There we go. How about that? I'm not used to having a third person in here. There we go.
Is that working now?
Yeah, we're good now.
Man, we're good. We're going to get you trained in someday.
I know. Gavin sends me a note. First day, Ryan. It feels like it sometimes. It really does.
I had a set of booster cables for Gavin because I heard he had some car trouble the other day. I was laughing.
He took care of it. He got himself a new ride.
I did get myself a new ride, but thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. I will call you from now on.
Yeah, things guys will do for a day off,
It was worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah, and then you guys are ripping me on my dress clothes, and I only have 2 suits. We played 2 games. They're at the dry cleaner. I would have been spiffed up today for you, too. It was coming.
Well, Remind me, outside of Wednesdays, that Coach listens to the show, and maybe I need to tailor my comments a little different.
Oh, yeah. I'm all over you. It's you guys and Mike in the morning, and then you guys in the afternoon.
Oh, well, we appreciate that.
I got my really shirt on today. I had a style up. He was nice enough to bring the shirt over last week. I thought, well, I got to wear it.
It's pretty sharp.
It is. It looks good. Feels good. I'm ready, man.
I wore mine to the game. My son and I went to the game Saturday night for Superhero Night. He was pretty excited about that, and I made sure to wear my shirt. And you guys come out, by the way, with a nice win there, 4-2 against the Indianapolis Fuel, which is the first time you've seen those guys in action up close and in person. Your thoughts on that team now that you've seen them once?
Well, it's a lineup of players that are kind of in their development phase of their career, but there's some talented players on there, and you have to really, take care of certain areas of the ice. And I thought that we had a little bit of rust coming out of the gate, and then we knocked one in our own net that didn't really help us get going to the start we wanted. Right. But, I felt as once the 10-minute mark of the first period kind of got rolling along, I felt like we were starting to find our rhythm a little bit. And then, I thought we did a lot of really good things. I thought we were real physical at times, and, I thought we got a lot out of the Harvey, Sulik, and Hobbs line.
Yeah, we saw Harvey out there quite a bit. And, again, I've met Kevin on a couple of occasions now with the video we shot a few weeks ago, and then in the golf scramble. I wouldn't say we're best friends, but it was like, hey, there's Kevin, go. So I'm just cheering for Harvey the whole time. Nice job, Harv. But he looked pretty good, and you're getting a lot out of Kennedy from what I can see. Yeah. I assume that relationship is he's getting more comfortable in the organization as the days go by.
Well, obviously, like you said, he spent a long time last year in the American Hockey League after starting the season here. So, I can really see a difference. Having coached against him, I can really see a difference in the level of play and where he's elevated his game to. And he's brought that to us. And, it's been a pretty valuable part. There's no doubt.
You bring up this Indianapolis Fuel team that comes in now. An expansion team, I guess, would be the word. Whatever, they're first year in the league. But when they come in, how does that work? I mean, are they just start from scratch, or does the league? I know because some leagues, I don't know how hockey works, but I know some leagues are required maybe to give a player to a team when they bring a new team into the league to kind of get them started.
Yeah, really, at this level, with the way rosters are constructed, you have to be really careful to not fall into a trap of this expansion stuff because, you're going to get some really quality players from your affiliate. And then there's a lot of quality free agents now with the Central Hockey League not being around. And there's a lot of players. So you can build a team that can be real respectable right out of the gate. So you don't want to fall into this expansion type thing. And, I think that that's the one thing that I know Coach Boyle and myself have really, guarded against. We've got to dot our I's and cross our T's here against this team. They have some good players.
It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3 and online, ESPNEvansville.com, talking Evansville IceMen hockey with head coach Dwight Mullins. You guys will see the Fuel again twice this weekend. You go up there to Indianapolis for a game on Friday night, and then you're back here inside the Ford Center for the final game in that 3-game series with the Fuel on Saturday night. Both games here, of course, on ESPN Evansville 105.3 and online, ESPNEvansville.com. Is that common to take on the same team in 2 different venues like that, back-to-back nights? And how do you game plan for that kind of stuff? Because obviously it's one thing in the world of baseball where they'll do a 3 or 4 game series, but and not to take anything away from the athleticism of baseball players, but maybe in the grand scheme, when you compare that to hockey, baseball, I would maybe argue not as physically intensive as hockey is, because they're not slamming into each other and everything else that goes on in a hockey game. How do you game plan for having not only back-to-back games like that, but in two different cities, and you've got travel time factored in?
Well, quite honestly, the longer or the more we play an opponent in consecutive nights like that, it's a little bit easier for us as a coaching staff because of the pregame preparation. You're not really changing your overall game plan. You're making a few adjustments here or there. So, the workload's a little bit lesser on us as a coaching staff. At the same time, though, I really think that this is where emotions start to play in a little bit too. You start to, grind on guys a little bit, and everybody kind of gets a little thin-skinned, and that's where some exciting things happen. So, I think geographically, obviously, it makes it great for us to travel. I know that in this league, there's times where we would play 7-8 hours away, the next night, and that gets demanding on your hockey team. So, having a team that's just up the road and we can get in and get out and get back and play and in a relatively short time frame is really beneficial.
Well, I know when we were doing the indoor football thing, the cutoff on hotel type deals, I know the home team covered for the visiting team.
Yeah.
And you always played, we had home and home, so, you return the favor when they come in. But the cutoff was around 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
So, Indy, then you'll leave Friday morning, go up and play, and come back Friday night?
Yeah, it's the same in our league. We have a 4-hour window.
Okay.
Obviously, you try to plan your trip and your travel as diligently as possible, but you do have that 4-hour window, and Indy falls within that. So, we'll go up the day of the game, and we'll do the same a lot of times in Fort Wayne. Where we won't do it sometimes is if we play one night in Indianapolis and then maybe the next night in Cincinnati or something like that.
Yeah, you might as well stay in Indy, yeah.
Talking to Evansville IceMen Head Coach Dwight Mullins in the Crease, his weekly segment here with us. Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3, online, ESPNEvansville.com. Some roster changes this week for you, Coach. Talk about each of these if you don't mind. Antoine Corbin gets traded for some future considerations, and if you could, for those that maybe don't know, what exactly does that? What are the future considerations?
Well, it can mean a number of things, especially a team will do that in a situation where they really are maybe trying to make room for other moves that are being made or other players that maybe are on the cusp of either being sent down to your hockey team or whatever, and you maybe don't have that roster space right now. So, in the sense of Antoine, his move was really constructed out of the other move that we made yesterday to make room for players. And so what happens is it can be a multitude of things. It could be a list of guys off of the team that we traded to. So it could be a list where we could pick, or it could be cash. It could be, a number of certain things that you can construct in your deal that don't necessarily mean a live body coming to you at this point in time.
Well, and the other move you made, which I believe is the one you were just making reference to as of yesterday, Nathan Moon, requested trade. We talked about that with you last week when you came in, and you've sent him off to the Colorado Eagles for Daniel Johnston. What kind of player are you getting with Johnston?
Well, first and foremost, it was a real difficult situation. I mean, obviously, Nathan Moon's a well-respected player, and he's a popular player here as well. He's a top 6 forward in this league. And, when you are in a young part of the season like this, everybody feels good about their hockey team and aren't maybe always willing to give you market value for a player like that. And so, it's taken a lot of time and it's taken some work, but the player we're getting in return is a younger player. He's 22 years old. He played last year in Colorado, but he played all kinds of minutes, and he's played in all kinds of situations. And, his character checks out phenomenal. He's a big physical guy that can skate and shoot. And, I enjoyed him yesterday. His goals for the season are 40, 50 points and 12 fights. How the heck can you go wrong with that?
That's my guy right there. That's my guy
You got to have goals, man. You got to have something to strive for.
I'm thinking more 18-20 fights, 60 points, 18-20. Yeah, there you go.
So no, but we're excited to have him, get him in here. It's a little bit difficult in travel and time frame, so I know that you got to take care of your personal stuff, and especially when you don't see it coming, it can be a little bit rattling for everybody. But hopefully we'll get him here as quick as we can. We'll get him in the lineup and get him going. I think he'll make us better.
So is there a chance he could play for you guys this weekend?
It's debatable.
Yeah.
It would be Saturday if we can. It would be Saturday, yeah, if we can. I mean, I think the big thing is that this trade was made for the big picture.
Mm-hmm. We do have a couple of Facebook questions from some fans. Drew wants to know, he mentions that the Icemen have gone 1 for 8 on the power play, but seem to be making improvements with each opportunity. Are you satisfied with the progression of the power play, and what would you like to see adjusted or improved on?
Well, I think that a lot of it is really kind of getting a set personnel. We had some things happen where some of our personnel have changed in and out, and then we have a guy that should be on the power play in Brandon Wong that hasn't even played a game for us yet. So I think that, right now at this point in time, it does make the difference. I'm not satisfied with 1 and 8, obviously, but I also understand how difficult it is at times to really capitalize. I mean, like we do, everybody else has a formula to penalty kill, and the other team's trying.
Mm-hmm. One more from the Facebook page, and then we'll let you get back to the office there. Next Wednesday's the annual Education Day game. Starts at 9:30 in the morning. This is from Michael. He says, as a coach, how do you approach and prepare for an early morning game differently than a typical evening game?
Well, that's a great question. This is going to be my first one.
Oh, you've not done this before?
No, I have not.
Okay.
No,
it's a cool thing around here.
Yeah.
It really goes over well.
Well, I think we're all excited because, we know the energy and everything that's in the building, but we're creatures of habit. We have routines, and we have, it's kind of like asking the morning anchor man to do the nightly news. Deal, it's different.
Then get back up and do the morning again.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I think that, we'll have a game plan put in place. And really, it's just kind of backing up what we would do on a normal day back to about 6 a.m. really, and just kind of pre-planning like that. So we'll have curfew the night before, and
good luck with that, Coach. Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure he'll get his way if he needs to.
Oh yeah. No, you can lock them in a room all you want. It's getting them to turn the video games off early enough.
Or if they're all out, I can't cut them all. Right?
Well, that's right. True. Yeah.
Don't tell them that. I hope they don't listen, so we don't have to worry. No,
Evansville IceMen Head Coach Dwight Mullins, weekly segment in the Crease here on Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3. 2 games, both against the Indianapolis Fuel. Friday night up in Indy. Our coverage starts at 7:20 here on ESPN Evansville 105.3, and then of course Saturday night inside the Ford Center, taking on that Indianapolis Fuel team. Once again, you guys will see each other, I'm sure, throughout the remainder of the season, but this initial 3-game series will wrap up on Saturday night. Coverage of that game at 7 o'clock here on ESPN Evansville 105.3. Coach, as always, enjoy having you in.
Awesome.
Look forward to it each and every Wednesday, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Hey, thanks, guys.